I'm going to show you how I sign 19 high-ticket clients every single month consistently for my business using LinkedIn. I'm going to show you behind the scenes on exactly how the system works, how you can implement it as well for your business, and I'm going to show you how you can duplicate it as well so that you can get the same results and even better results, right? So who the strategy is for is very simple. It's for coaches and consultants, course creators, agency owners, high ticket service providers, and just people selling high ticket offers. Okay, so if you are in any of these categories, if you will, this video is going to help you a lot pretty much, right? So before we get into the system, if you don't know who I am, I'm Gabriel, the founder of Zeta Media. We are a growth partner for coaches, consultants, and course creators. And at this point, we have scaled over 150 businesses to multi-6, 7, and even 8 figures in monthly revenue. And it's safe to say that this system that I'm about to show you in this video works very well. We've tested it for hundreds of different businesses, literally hundreds of different businesses, and you are going to get a proven system that works. So with that being said, let's just get into it. So first of all, we have to talk about the architecture of client acquisition, because if you don't understand this, right, no, system is going to work. No messaging script is going to work. There's no shiny object that is going to save you and that's going to help you sign clients if you don't have this in place. Okay, so let's talk about it. What is the client acquisition pyramid essentially? Well, at the bottom, we have the fundamental things, right? The foundational things that are going to basically have the biggest impact on the business. That is obviously the offer, and more specifically, the way you package and position the offer on the market. Okay, so this is by far the most important thing. If you don't have the offer in place, doesn't matter how many scripts you try, doesn't matter how many messages you send, doesn't matter, nothing matters essentially, and you're not going to get results. So first of all, before you send any message or run any paid ads or anything like that, you have to make sure that your offer is dialed in, is absolutely dialed in. Okay, so that's the foundation. Now, if we go up a step, we have something that is still very important, it's still quite a foundation, but it's not going to have an impact as big as the offer essentially, right? So next we have the messaging principles and the creative, right? So obviously with this system, we're sending messages, we're not running paid ads. And so what's going to matter the most is the messaging itself, right? So what kind of message do you use to essentially get people into your funnel, right? And get them interested. So this is, again, very important, but it's not going to be as impactful as the offer, because obviously the offer influences the messaging, right? And the messages that you send essentially, right? Next, we have targeting. So what kind of people, right, are you reaching out to, right? How good are the leads? How, what is the quality of the leads essentially? And this is obviously important as well, but again, it's not going to be nearly as important as the offer itself. And then also we have the scaling strategy when it comes to the system specifically. If you don't know how to scale it the right way, then obviously the system might not work efficiently. So also this is just a problem of scaling, right? At this point, you would probably already be getting like 20 to 30 plus clients. So as you can see, it's not necessarily a foundational that can make or break the entire thing. So with all this in mind, it's safe to say that if your offer is not dialed in, you have no business sending messages to people, you have no business running paid ads or doing anything else, you have to go back and take care of your offer, okay? So I have other videos on my channel about offer. I'm not going to get into offer in this video, but feel free to check out my channel for other videos on the offer, okay? So let's talk about the funnel itself. How does the system work? How does it look like? Okay, so first of all, we're going to send an initial message, and obviously I'm going to show you sort of like what kind of scripts you can use, what is the structure, and so on. But right now I'm just showing you the funnel, right? So we have the initial message. After that, we have a baby VSL. This is how we call it. And then after this, we're going to have the calendar link. We're going to send a calendar link so people can book a call. After we send a calendar link, obviously people, before being allowed to book the call, they're going to fill out an application process. They're going to answer a few questions, qualifying questions. And then if they're qualified, they're actually going to book the call. Okay. So this is kind of like how the system works. Now let's get into the details. Okay. So let's break down the script, right? First of all, we're going to break down the initial message, right? Because this is essentially the first step of the funnel, right? It's the initial message. Now, the initial message has to be actually personalized, okay? I mean, it has to be sent one-to-one, essentially, by a real human. You cannot automate this. You cannot try to get your favorite software for automation or anything like that. You have to do it essentially for every single person, okay? Otherwise, the system is just not going to work as well. Next thing is no hey first name or first line personalization. Again, this actually needs to be sent by a real human, and you need to send this to every single person, personalized. This is how you get the best results with the system. Next thing is you want to start with a pattern interrupt. Okay, obviously you don't want to start the message by sounding like everyone else. And what I mean by pattern interrupt is that essentially you're just kind of like scratching the diss of the customer, in the sense that you're not starting with a sentence that they might expect, or you're not starting with a sentence or with a word, or with anything that could put you in the same bucket with all the other salespeople who are trying to sell them something. Okay, so essentially you want to just be so different that it kind of like, it's kind of like interesting how different you are, if that makes sense, right? So you just don't want to do the same thing that everyone else does, right? Because otherwise people are just going to automatically ignore you. Okay, so you want to start with something a little crazy, a little non-conventional, and something like that to really get their attention, because this is what we're doing with this. Next thing is radical transparency. Look, a lot of people are kind of trying to hide or be indirect, like, okay, let me send you this, and then maybe we can do that. You can kind of book a call. No, man, you got to be direct. People know that you're pitching them. They're not stupid. They know that you want to sell them something. So just be upfront about it, and they'll appreciate it. And you will come across as more, more honest and transparent, right? Which is what people are looking for. So very, very important. Next thing is voice note format. So as I said, this has to be actually personalized for every single person. And I highly recommend you that you use a voice note format, because this way it's something different. It's not a text message, right? Like everyone else uses nowadays with automation and stuff like that. You're actually going to stand out. This is what you want to do. You want to stand out in the inbox. It's very important. Next thing is you want to keep it very short, very brief. Rule of thumb, it has to be under 60 seconds. Okay, so the video has to be under 60 seconds. Next thing is you just want to have a small ask, which is low friction. Okay, so guys, don't ask them to book a call from the first message. Okay, don't ask them for the time on the first message. That just doesn't make any sense. It's just like you would try to propose to a girl on the first date. It just doesn't really quite work that way, right? You just have to take it step by step. You have to get a lot of smaller yeses until you ask for the big commitment, which ultimately the last one is for them to buy, but obviously the second most important one is for them to actually book a call. But you won't get there if you don't get a few smaller yeses until you get to that point. Okay, next thing is you want to ask a yes or no question in this initial message. So hey, do you struggle with this pain? If not, that's cool. So it's kind of like, hey, do you need this, right? Are you struggling with this? Yes or no, right? We're not asking them for anything else. We're just asking for, hey, yes or no. And the last thing, don't pitch your offer, okay? Nothing about your offer, nothing like that. Just be to the point, brief. Hey, are you struggling with this? Yes or no. That's it. Don't talk about offer. Don't talk about guarantees. Don't talk about what you can do for them. Nothing like that. Just ask that no-brainer question, which is either a yes or no. So let's take a look at an example. You can just pretty much, take a look at this one, and you can try to do the same for your business. Okay, so we have, hey John, obviously this is the prospect's name. Hey prospect name, I saw that you are in the, and this can be done in a group name, like, hey, this is how I found you, pretty much. Like, I'm not just reaching out to random people. This is how I found you. And you could just say, what is the group name, essentially where you find that person. And I was curious, are you currently struggling with problem, right? Again, this is the no-brainer question, right? Is it either yes or no, nothing else. I'm asking because I have a unique way of delivering end result. We're talking about the end result. That's the only thing that we're focusing on. But of course, I don't want to pitch slap you. So, if you're struggling with problem, feel free to let me know, and I'd love to tell you more. Okay, cheers. Very simple message, straight to the point, no offers here, no pitches, no nothing. I'm just seeing, okay, are you interested in this, right? Do you have this pain? Do you have this problem? Right? Nothing else. I'm not saying I can help you do that. I'm not promising anything. I'm just really seeing if they're essentially interested, right, in solving this specific problem. So then after that, of course, I can send them more details and we can talk more about this. So this is the initial message, right? Next step of the process is going to be for us to send the baby VSL. This is going to be an evergreen video. It's not going to be personalized. This also has to be very short, so under 5 minutes. And you have to remember, guys, don't get into the weeds here. Like, don't talk about random things that are not directly related to the end result or your offer. That's it, right? Now, explain why you're making the video. So like a simple introduction, again, be transparent with this video as well. Like, hey, I'm making this video because, right, I want to show you how I can help you, right? And obviously you want to be more specific, but again, with the video as well, you want to be very transparent. Next thing is you want to explain the offer and the risk reversal. So the whole point of the video is for you to explain exactly how the offer works, for them to have a look at it and see if it's for them, right? And if they're interested, essentially. Next, you want to show case studies, right? So some social proof. You want to show social results essentially, and you just want to show people that, hey, I've been solving this problem for hundreds of different times. So you essentially want to build credibility for yourself, right? Next thing is you want a confidence loop around the desired result in ultimate outcome of working with you. This is very important. So throughout the whole video, it's kind of like, you're running a straight line. You're always focusing on the end result, the outcome, right? The ultimate outcome of them working with you. You don't talk about other things. You don't go on a side tangent. You don't want to talk about your company or anything like that. Really, the only focus is the end result. And for you specifically, proving to them that you can help them achieve the end result. This is the most important thing, right? Last thing is you want to explain exactly how the mechanism works, explained using 3 to 5 steps. So basically, for example, you can say, okay, I help businesses scale to 100K per month. Okay, well, what are all the steps? Step number 1 is dialing in the offer. Step number 2 is building an outbound system. System number 3 is hiring salespeople for them, for their company, for their team. And I don't know, step 4 is just making sure that the clients get the best results. Okay, something like that. So essentially, okay, what is the end result that you are helping your clients achieve? And then based on that result, what are the 3 to 5 steps that they need to take in order to get there? Okay, and you just pretty much want to break down those 3 to 5 steps in a unique way that's, and essentially like show them, hey, this is my unique way of helping you get there. And so this is what you're going to break down, essentially. This is what I mean by mechanism. And the last thing is going to be a call to action for them to book a call. Okay, again, the call to action is not buy today or anything like that. The call to action is let's book a call. Let's have a conversation if you're interested in this, okay? So with that being said, let's talk about probably the most important thing, right? Because you probably already have a VSL, that's cool. You probably already have an initial message, that's also cool. But if you don't have these principles in place, the system is not going to work for you. So obviously the system has 2 main assets. Number 1, the baby VSL, and number 2, the initial message, right? And we covered both of these, right? What you want to do is you want to write the script for them. You want to put the script in a Google document, and you want to stick to the same script for every single person, okay? Like, this is so important. Send the same message to every single person, obviously besides the personalized aspects, right? So I mean, you stick to the same script after you've put it down in the Google document. You just stick to the same script. You don't try to change it, to tweak it, thinking that, oh, let me just get it better. I think this is better. No, literally stick to the exact same script, right? Besides the personalized aspects for every single person, okay? You just want to use the same system, no variables change, okay? So don't change the script. This is the first rule. Now, yes, we don't want to change the scripts because we are going to track all the data, okay? So you must track all the data, and you must be sort of like a guy who's working in science, right? And it's tracking everything, and it's kind of like looking at every single little detail, right? So what you want to track, and this is the most important metric, is the appointment booking rate, and this is essentially how many people have actually booked the call, right? So out of 100 people that you reach out to, how many people are actually going to book a call? Okay, this is a very important metric, and this pretty much will tell you how good the system is working. It's going to tell you how, again, if the system is performing, is underperforming. So this is essentially your North Star. Okay, you want to make all your decision based on this number. Okay, so again, we covered the ABR. This is the most important metric. And talking about metrics, if your ABR is over 2%, then you're just pretty much good to go. Your system runs perfectly, and essentially you just don't want to change anything. Okay, so if you track the data, right, it's okay, out of 100 people that I message, how many people actually book a call, and you see that your ABR, okay, this is the metric that I'm talking about, is over 2%, then that means that your system is working fine. And I would just keep running the same system over and over again because it's proven, it brings results, right? So let's see what are the numbers right here and what you need to have in mind. if you want to tweak the system or if the system doesn't work. So at least 100 people must have seen the initial message for you to judge the performance of it. How you judge the performance of the initial message is the positive reply rate. So how many people respond positively to that, okay? If that is very low, that means that you have to change the initial message. Yes, but at least 100 people must have seen that initial message for you to be able to judge the data, right? Like it goes to say, like, for example, right, if you have 2 calls, right, you have 2 sales calls and you close 1 call, that technically means that you have a 50% closing rate. Yeah, but that might not be true over 100 calls, if that makes sense, because, you know, essentially you're not going to see the real numbers in small data sets, right? You're just not going to see them. Again, like it comes with like 50% closing rate out of 2 calls. Yes, but those are only 2 calls. You need to take more calls to be able to see what is the real closing rate and what is the real number, essentially. And it goes exactly the same with initial message, okay? Only after you've reached out to 100 people and 100 people have seen that message, only after that you can judge, okay, this message is not really performing well, okay? And obviously you want to do the same for the VSL. At least 100 different people must have seen the VSL for you to be able to judge the performance of it, okay? Before that, there's no judgment. You just want to run the system exactly as it is and don't make any changes to it, okay? So by don't make any changes, I mean don't change a single word from the script, okay, until a minimum of 100 people have seen the actual asset, okay? So you want to make sure that you run the same script for 100 people, and after that you can judge the data. If it's going well, if you have an ABR of over 2%, maybe like 3, 4 or whatever, the system is just fine. You just want to use the same system essentially, right? Now, obviously, besides this, the money is in the follow-up. We covered the 2 assets, but the money is in the follow-up. So you also want to make sure that you have an organized follow-up system. So you know exactly when you're going to follow up with people. You're going to know exactly how many times you're going to follow up, and you are going to follow every single step in order, essentially. Okay, so you have to be very systematic with this approach. Let's talk about the scientific method, which we kind of like covered a little bit, a small part of this. So again, if you want to tweak the system, you just want to change one variable at a time and keep all the other variables the same. So what that means is that, you know, for example, if you just want to improve the ABR, if your ABR is not on point and you're only going to change the VSL, right? You do not want to change the VSL and the initial message at the same time and maybe change something else about the system. No. So if we were to have a look again at the system, as you can see here, we have different variables into the funnel. So if you just want to improve the overall performance of the funnel and you want to get a better ABR, then you can, for example, only change the initial message and keep all the other variables the same. Or on the other side, maybe you can only change the baby VSL and you would keep all the other variables the same, okay, including the initial message and all the other variables after the baby VSL. So you only change one piece at a time, because if you change 2 at the same time and, for example, the system doesn't perform as well, then you're not going to know why it doesn't perform as well. You're not going to know what happened. You're not going to know if it's because of the baby VSL or because of the initial message, okay? So you only need to change one piece at a time. This is very important to take this approach with the system, right? So once your ABR is 2%, okay, for the system, once you run the system for a while and you just see that your ABR is 2% and you have sustained that number for at least 2 months, then you're pretty much ready to scale, okay? Like you obviously you want to get more book calls, because at that point, if you have a 2% ABR, if you send 100 messages, you're going to book 2 calls, right? So if you just want to scale, it's very simple. You just have to send more messages. It's that simple, okay? So you just want to send more messages. The way you can do that is you can just create multiple accounts in social media, whether you're using LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever. You can just create multiple accounts, or you can also hire appointment setters or VAs, okay? So you can just hire appointment setters to send the exact same message to prospects, to use the exact same system, so that is still going to be a 2% ABR, and you are going to be booking even more calls, okay? This is a win-win, easiest way to scale the system, okay? So that's pretty much it for the system. This is kind of like how the system works. I hope you got value out of this video. If you enjoyed it, if you feel like this was a very valuable video, then please smash the like button on this video, because YouTube is going to show you more videos like this that are going to help with your business and are eventually going to help you get more clients and grow your business. And also subscribe to this channel right now, because I'm going to be posting more videos like this, no fluff, just me with a Google document showing you behind the scenes on what systems we use to grow our business and how you can do the same for your business as well, right? So with all that being said, I have an offer for you if you're a coach, consultant, like a course creator, and if you want to grow your business to multi 6, 7, and even 8 figures. I got a pretty cool offer for you that is pay for performance. Feel free to check the link in the description down below. That is a link to my funnel. I just want to be completely honest with you. And in that video, I explain exactly how the offer works, and I also explain how we can help you as well. So again, if you're interested in it, you might want to check it out because it's a pretty cool offer. It works very well. So if you want to scale to 100K a month, 500K a month, a million a month, or whatever it is, we can help you get there. So feel free to check out the link in the description. That being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.